back to my channel. I am back with another review, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. A lot went down in this episode, so let's just get right into this review. So Trina ends up meeting up with Bobby and Joy at the very beginning of this episode to talk to them about what went down in the previous episode at Magic Monday. Flo, Gaelle, and Claudia ended up showing up because Flo obviously wanted to have a conversation with Trina to find out why she didn't show up to the festival. Now, before Flo ended up going inside to have a conversation with Trina, she ended up telling Claudia and Gaelle that she didn't want any drama with Trina. She just wanted to talk to her, and that was it. But apparently, Claudia and Gaelle had something up their sleeves because as soon as Flo was talking to Trina, things were going well. Then Claudia decided to insert herself into the conversation, and that's when Trina got on defensive mode because obviously there's three of them and there's one of her, and so she started to get really defensive when Claudia started questioning her. Then Gaelle ends up jumping into the conversation and she starts yelling things at Trina. So Trina ends up getting on the microphone and she starts chewing out Gaelle because she got so pissed off. They almost fought, honestly, until security pulled them apart from each other. But Trina is facing a lot of backlash right now from the Haitian community because of some of the comments that she made to Claudia, Gaelle, and Flo. She called them voodoo-ass bitches, and she also said something about them eating cats, which was really distasteful of her to say. I don't think that she should have said that no matter how mad she was at, Gaelle and Claudia. I just don't think that something like that should have came out of her mouth. Now, she did say that the only reason why she made the voodoo comment is one, because she was really pissed off, and two, because a few episodes ago when Gaelle was trying to sabotage Trina and Flo's working relationship, she told Trina that Flo does, voodoo. So that's the reason why she said she made that comment. But either way, I don't think that it was right for her to say. I do think that Flo needs to keep Claudia and Gaelle away from anything that's work-related, anything that has to do with her career and her music, because at the end of the day, they're going to make people not want to work with her the way that they act every time they show up to one of the events that she has. And then on top of that, I have to wonder if they did that on purpose. I don't know if Claudia was trying to purposely sabotage Trina and Flo's work relationship, but I have to wonder if that's what Gaelle was trying to do. Now, because Super Cindy decided to put Zoe back on the Queen's Project, she also decided to do something else really nice for Zoe. She ended up getting Zoe a meeting with Wyclef, and he really believes in Zoe's music, and he wants to help her make it to the top, which I was excited for Zoe in this episode because she's went through a lot in her career in this season of the show. She first got kicked off the Queen's Project, and then she ended up getting into it with Trina and Joy, and then on top of that, last episode, she ended up doing the video shoot for the song that she did with Suki and Sukiana never showed up. So I was really happy for her that she got this meeting with Wyclef. Safaree ends up meeting up with Amara in this episode because he really wants to talk to her about what went down with Vonshae at Shay's event in the previous episode that Amara didn't end up going to. Amara ended up telling Safaree that she already knows what Vonshae tried to do at Shay's event, but the only thing that she really cared about was if Safaree defended her or not. My thing is, Safaree did not defend Amara at all. He sat there and participated in Vonshae trying to expose her. When Vonshae ended up calling Safaree up to the stage and she told him to read the comment that Amara put underneath that disgusting comment about her daughter, he should not have ever read that out loud. I really do think that once he read the comment and saw it, he shouldn't have read it out loud to everybody. I think that he should have left. I think that it was wrong that he sat there and questioned whether or not she actually did do that. Because to me, in front of everybody, I don't think that he should have acted like he thought that it could have been a possibility that she did put that comment there. I think that he should have defended her. I think he shouldn't have read the comment out loud. I think that he should have left. And if he was questioning whether or not Amara really wrote that comment, then he should have asked her privately. He shouldn't have been questioning it in front of Shay and everybody else. Amara seemed to be really upset at the fact that Safaree seemed to be questioning whether or not she put those laughing emojis underneath that comment. She seemed to think that he should have known that that's not something that she would have done. And I actually agree with her on that. I feel like Safaree was wrong. I feel like if he felt like there was a chance that she did do that, he should have at least came to her first instead of questioning it in front of everybody at the party. I also think that, she didn't really write that comment. I think that it was Photoshopped because it was a screenshot. You can edit a screenshot. I feel like if it was real, somebody would have ended up screen recording the thing just to make sure that it really was her that made that comment. And so I definitely agree with Amara when she said that she thinks that it's Photoshopped and she thinks that Vonshae has something to do with it. I think Vonshae knew that she didn't really have a legitimate reason to have an issue with Amara and keep trying to fight her all the time. So she had to create something to have a reason to have an issue with her. And that's the reason why this screenshot magically appeared. So I honestly don't feel like Amara made that comment. I think Vonshae made it up. And until I see a screen recording of that comment being made and I see that it directs me directly to Amara's page, I don't believe that she really did do it. Now, Amara was so upset at the fact that Safaree was questioning her character that she decided to end the relationship because she said that, she doesn't feel like things are working out, and she feels like if Safaree really loved her and cared about her, he would have had her back and he wouldn't have ever thought that she would make a comment like that. I honestly think it was time for their relationship to end too, because it just wasn't working out. They seemed to have more drama than they did have any good times with each other from what we were able to see. And Safaree didn't seem to be upset about the relationship ending at all. I think he wanted it to end, to be honest with you. And he did say that in his interview on this episode. He said that he didn't want to be attached to any of Amara's bad press because of that comment. So he was fine with the relationship ending. Gunplay ends up getting arrested in this episode because he gets into it pretty bad with Vonshae. She said that he was drunk and he was playing his video game really loudly in the middle of the night when she was trying to put the baby to sleep. So she asked him if he can keep it down, and he got really upset about it to the point where he started throwing things and breaking things. She got really scared because of the way that he was acting, so she ended up locking herself in a room and she started packing a bag so that she can leave for the night. She said that Gunplay got so upset because she was trying to leave that he ended up getting the door open and he pointed the gun in her face. And so she got so scared that she got the baby and she left the house and called the police. Now, even if you don't like Vonshae, that doesn't mean that you should think that she deserves something like this to happen to her, or that means that you should think that she's lying about what happened to her. I honestly don't think that she's lying about this situation. Maybe she's not telling every little detail that happened, but either way, I don't think that anything she could have done should have resulted in him pointing a gun at her. I just don't think that it should ever get that far. Now, she did end up taking some accountability because she did say that when she met Gunplay, she knew exactly who he was and she thought that she could fix him. My thing is, you can't think you can fix somebody. You can't fix anybody. They have to want to fix themselves. You're not going to be able to change somebody, and that's the mistake that she made. I do think that she has some issues of her own that she needs to work out because this whole situation with Amara showed a different side of her. But I do think that she has potential, and I do think that she should get away from Gunplay. I think that they should get a divorce, and I think that she should just focus on herself and her daughter at this point. Now, Shay and Fabo are done because of what went down in the previous episode. In the previous episode, at Shay's event, after Vonshae made the whole event about herself, Shay ended up trying to leave with Fabo, and that's when her mother and her brother ended up going up to them, and her mother tried to make up with Fabo and say that she wanted to start over. Now, instead of Fabo being respectful to her mother and listening to what she had to say, he kept trying to correct her and he kept giving her an attitude and getting really aggressive to the point where him and Shay ended up getting into a really heated argument, and it resulted in them breaking up. Now, I'm glad that Shay decided to end things with Fabo because it didn't even seem like she was happy in that relationship. He seemed to be really controlling from what we were able to see, and he seemed to not care about her feelings or her family, and so I just don't feel like he was the right person for her. He also seems to be hiding a lot. I don't know if the things that are being said about him are true, but he seems to hide a lot of things and he seems to brush everything under the rug when Shay confronts him about something. So I am glad that she decided to end things with him because I just don't think it was working out. While Suki is in the middle of a photo shoot for a magazine, Super Cindy ends up showing up so that they can have a one-on-one conversation because in the previous episode, they ended up getting into a pretty heated argument during their interview. Now, I really didn't think that this was the appropriate setting for Super Cindy to show up so that she can have a conversation with Suki about some drama because this is a professional photo shoot. But at the end of the day, Suki ended up pulling her aside so that they didn't have the conversation in front of the photographers and stuff. Now, this conversation wasn't going well from the very start because Suki didn't seem to be receptive to what Super Cindy was saying. Super Cindy said that she was really upset at the way that Suki was talking to her during their interview, and she felt like it was completely uncalled for. But Sukiyana feels like because her and Super Cindy were cool with each other, she didn't think that Super Cindy would ask her questions about stuff that she didn't want to talk about. But my thing is, Super Cindy was just doing her job. Her job as an interviewer is to ask the questions that the fans want to know. So I don't understand why Sukiyana felt like she should have been given special treatment than any other guest that comes on the show. Now, Super Cindy was definitely trying to check Sukiyana because she didn't like the way that Sukiyana was speaking to her, which, you know, Sukiyana was wrong for the way that she was talking to Super Cindy. I think that she should have went forward with the rest of the interview, and then after the interview was over, she should have told Super Cindy how she felt about the whole thing. I don't think that she should have been snatching papers out of her hand, yelling at her, you know, calling her all types of names. I just think that Sukiyana handled that situation completely wrong. But I can also understand where she's coming from because she has feelings too, and at the end of the day, she doesn't want every little thing that she's done in the past that she's not proud of to be brought up. But at the same time, she should probably stop doing things that she's not proud of if she doesn't want it brought up, because a lot of the times anything you do in your lifetime is going to get brought up again at some point. I don't know why she thinks that she should be exempt from the things that she's done in her past being brought up, because all of us have to deal with that whether we're famous or not. And the conversation between the two of them just was not going anywhere. They started yelling at each other, and that's when Super Cindy decided to walk out of the conversation. Now, Super Cindy ended up telling Sukiyana that she treats a lot of people bad, and when Sukiyana asked her who she was talking about, Super Cindy didn't want to say anything at first, but then she ended up telling Sukiyana that she felt like it was wrong that Sukiyana didn't show up for Zoe for the video shoot. Now, Sukiyana got so pissed off that she started calling Super Cindy all types of names and yelling at her, and it just really got really messy at this point. I do think that Sukiyana was wrong for not showing up to the video shoot with Zoe, because if she didn't want to shoot the video, she should have just told Zoe that she didn't want to, because now the two of them have issues with each other from miscommunication. It's the night of Amara's event, and she does end up saying that she hopes Vonshae is doing well despite the issues that they have with each other, but that doesn't mean that because she has sympathy for Vonshae that she's letting her off the hook because of what she did to her. And I don't think that Amara should let Vonshae off the hook either, because she really did some damaging stuff to Amara's reputation. A lot of people are starting to look at her in a different light, and they don't know if the screenshot is real or not, so everybody is kind of questioning who Amara is as a person. And then on top of that, in this episode, she ends up telling Eliza that she's been getting death threats to her and her daughter because of what Vonshae did. So I think it's a whole messed up situation, and I can understand why Amara is upset. Now, Flo ends up showing up to Amara's event to support her, and she ends up bringing her sister Gaelle with her, which I think was a really big mistake. I honestly don't think that Flo should bring Gaelle anywhere with her, because at the end of the day, she causes a lot of drama, and she's making people look at Flo some type of way, because people are not going to want to work with her at all or invite her to anything if they know that she's going to bring her messy sister with her. Now, Bobby ends up convincing Trina and Joy to go with him to Amara's event to support, but he ends up feeling some type of way when he sees that Flo and Gaelle are there, because he knows that Trina is there with him, and he knows that Gaelle, you know, caused a bunch of drama with Trina in the previous episode, and so he's so pissed off about it that he starts confronting Amara. Now, I do not like the way that Bobby was acting with Amara. He went in her face, he was pointing in her face, he was talking really loudly, and I think that's really disrespectful. I don't care who he is or who he thinks he is, he's still a man, and he should not be in no woman's face yelling at her the way that he was and pointing in her face. I think that was wrong, and I think that he should have let Trina and Joy handle that situation, because he made it a situation. They weren't even speaking to each other at Amara's event because they were trying to respect the fact that it was Amara's event and they didn't want to ruin it. But Bobby's so messy that he's trying to act like he's trying to defend Trina when really he's stirring up a bunch of drama, because I honestly think that if Bobby wouldn't have said anything, there wouldn't have been any drama at Amara's event. Now, Amara's getting so upset at Bobby and Gaelle going back and forth with each other that she's trying to calm the situation down because she doesn't want her event ruined. And Bobby starts telling Amara that she's trying to act differently because Flo and Gaelle are there. But my thing is, she's not trying to act differently. She's trying to save her event from being ruined. She basically ends up telling Bobby that he needs to stay out of it and let Trina and Flo handle their problems themselves. So Trina ends up asking Flo if she wants to have a one-on-one conversation, but that Gaelle can't come. And that's when Gaelle ends up getting pissed off, and she ends up inserting herself into the conversation. And her and Trina end up having a very heated back and forth. I mean, they're yelling at each other. Security is holding them back from each other because they're about to fight. It just turns into a whole hot mess of a situation. Flo is just standing there looking upset because she really didn't want things to turn this way. But I think that if she didn't want things to turn this way, she shouldn't have brought Gaelle anywhere with her. Because at the end of the day, Gaelle does not really like Flo from what we're able to see. I don't know if it's just for the show or if it's real, but it seems like Gaelle has a real big bone to pick with Flo and that she'll try to ruin anything that she's trying to do. And so I really do feel like Flo shouldn't be inviting Gaelle to anything important. I felt really bad for Amara because she worked really hard on this event and it was for her products, and so I don't think that it was right for Bobby to show up to stir up drama, because the thing about it is that he was taking his issues that he has with Flo and Gaelle and putting it on Amara because she invited them. But my thing is, she can invite whoever she wants to invite to her event. If she doesn't have a problem with Flo, she can invite Flo to wherever she wants to invite her to. It was not Bobby's place to show up to her event and cause a big scene over something that didn't have anything to do with him. So I really don't think that moving forward, Amara should invite him to anything because he's just extremely messy. So those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Love and Hip Hop Miami. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.